I think by looking at her skin now, you would know what particular interest was there. What else? I found out that in November 2002, that was their first date with 2001. Their first date with Rob Chen. Now, that's why I love, no, Google. Let me now tell you why I fell in love with YouTube. Because YouTube showed me several personalities who sang in a noontime show. Lea Salonga, Raymond Lauchenko, Monique Wilson, and Senator, she didn't quite make it, but Riza Hontiveros. They played in a repertory Philippines, I think, a show of Sound of Music. They were the children. They were the Fontrap children. So, if only there was a screen, if we had had more time to prepare for this dinner, it would have been lovely if we had a screen out there, so you would be able to enjoy so many YouTube items on Miss Lea Salonga. And one of them that struck me was perhaps the most beautiful, beautiful wedding that ever occurred. It is true. I encourage everyone, as soon as you go back and you post your Facebook photos, go to YouTube and watch the wedding. Because that was the time when Rob cannot hold his emotions. One handkerchief was not enough. It was a tearful wedding, but it was a most beautiful, beautiful ceremony. One of the best that I have ever seen. Why am I talking about this? It is because, it's only to show how that I fell in love. But then I found out that Ambassador Toison was also invited tonight. And so there, I said, but who will speak, she or me? I said, I'd like to be the one to speak, but unfortunately she's not with us tonight. However, and by default, I got the role. No, but seriously, now we have two ambassadors in this room. Ambassador of Goodwill, Lea Salonga, and myself. But since she is an ambassador of Goodwill, what that makes of me? Is it ambassador of bad will? No, I would not, of course, you would know that is, I would refuse to appear to be such. Ladies and gentlemen, the event that happened last Friday was something to remember. We were there to witness another one of those particular moments when you would want to pull out a flag and raise it up high, because we were just so proud that a Filipina falls or goes into the ranks of the unforgettable great names. But not only being inserted there, but it is because it is a very noble cause. Ed had just mentioned 925 million people are going hungry. We are celebrating today, but this is also for a cause. This is also it is not because we can afford this dinners tonight. It is Ostres has organized this also for a cause. It is also to honor a great Filipina. Of late, and quite recently, we have had the madrigal singers. Those of you who were lucky enough to watch them at the Santa Nieve would agree with me that perhaps our spirits were really elevated because they, again, as you use Ed's words, they were top of the top. So I believe those were only 2 weeks ago. Now the madrigal singers are still going around trying to make, again, a name for the Philippines so that the Filipinos in Europe would be proud, would feel proud. In much the same way as we Filipinos gathered here tonight, feel so proud that we have an ambassador of goodwill who would be instrumental in making the world aware that there is a fight going on. And the fight is against hunger. And that every one of us would have a role. I think it is very important that us, Filipinos, here in Italy, also consider that there are still a lot of things that would have to be done, even in the Philippines, in terms of food sufficiency and food security. Thailand, for example, I feel is lucky that they have a monarch whose main aim, whose main focus is to make sure that Thailand has food sufficiency and food security. We do not have that kind of situation. Our leaders change. In the article this afternoon, in Inquirer, Ms. Lea Salonga was asked through an email interview, what if he had met President Aquino? If he met President Aquino, what would she counsel the president? And I believe that she very aptly said that she would hope that the plans of the president in terms of eliminating poverty and hunger in the Philippines, or even to have an agricultural policy, would have to be a sustainable one, and a policy that would go beyond his term as president. I believe, as in Thailand, when they have had a very sustained program of self-sufficiency, so too must us, Filipinos, have the same kind of agricultural policy, because agriculture is the base for food that would feed all the mouths, not only of the Filipinos, of people with whom we can share our plate. So with those words, join me please in applauding our new hero, Ms. Lea Salonga.